Originally, I was just going to do a short real-life video showing the changes the hormones have made, then discussing other changes I can't show. However, I have found there is a demand for me to do an animation instead. With this style, I figured instead of a status update video, I would tell my story. First, let me see if I can try to do a convincing girl voice. How does that sound? I just kind of sound like a really hoarse Mickey Mouse, don't I? Maybe I'll just continue the way I did before. I think I'll start with how I got on hormones. So after coming to the conclusion that I may be transgender, I went to a therapist to make sure, as well as make sense of all the emotions such a revelation can give you. After trying more feminine things, I was convinced I am transgender. With this, I wanted to start feminizing. My ultimate goal would be to have gender reassignment surgery, sometimes referred to as sex reassignment surgery or SRS for short. However, such a thing is expensive. There is a chance the surgery could be botched, and even if all goes well, the recovery time would be at least a month. Plus, I recently had a hernia removed, and I'm not too keen on going under the knife right away. I figured, let's start on hormones and see how I feel after that. Maybe they will take away my genital dysphoria and I won't need surgery. After several more sessions with my therapist, she gave me the number of a clinic that I could call. Looking back, I'm kind of amazed I didn't give up there. Getting in was several weeks of phone tag, needing to tell my particular story to each new person I called, and needing to confirm several different details. That was the first hurdle. From there, I then met with the doctor. I told her my desire to start hormone replacement therapy, or HRT for short. The first appointment was going through my medical history, as well as why I wanted to transition. From there, I had to wait another month for my next appointment. During that time, I had to get blood drawn in order to see what my levels were, as well as fill out a few consent forms. I was a little crestfallen when I found I could not start hormones until after these signed forms were mailed to them directly. This wasn't too bad, but these forms had to be signed during our meeting and then sent. I should probably clarify that the doctor's office is at least an hour away from where I live, and I opted to have telemedicine instead. I love living in the 21st century, though the mail still takes a few days, and I already had to wait a few months for this already. By luck, we found a way to send the forms electronically, and the prescription put in the next day. There was some confusion at the pharmacy, but I picked them up on September 30th. I was so excited to finally have them, but I had to wait until the next day, October 1st, as I wanted to keep everything consistent. From there, I took my first dose, and while I was a little worried about some of the bad side effects, I was more excited I was actually doing this. I could not contain my happiness for the whole day. Even for the first week, whenever I remembered I had estrogen running through my body, a smile would just instantly come to my face. Truth is, I was hoping that after enough time on hormones, I would find out I'm cis, but once again, I'm proving I'm trans. Sure, there are doubts every so often, but knowing how happy this is making me, those doubts don't last very long. Now on to the actual side effects these hormones have had on me. First week, I was mostly tired, with occasional bouts of anxiety attacks, but that was something I had before the hormones. Second week was a little scary, as I would have long periods of lightheadedness, which brought attention to my stiff neck. I was often convinced I was going to have a stroke or a heart attack, probably due to the anxiety again, but there was no denying I had high blood pressure symptoms. Week 3 is where it got fun. The lightheadedness was gone, and towards the end of the week, I was excited to feel my nipples were starting to hurt. After research and talking with the doctor, I have found that this is a sign that my breasts are developing, and I could not be happier. I will admit, though, this hurts. I can't touch them, lay on my chest, or wear a tight t-shirt without them hurting. It feels about the same as if you pulled a muscle. Odd thing is, when I feel the pain, it makes me happy, and when the pain stops, I get concerned. Week 4 was about the same as week 3. The only major difference is I started to wear a bra when going to bed. This helped a lot with the nipple pain. Plus, it's great practice. All the same, I'm amazed I've gotten to this stage this soon. The doctor gave me an average timetable, and breast growth isn't labeled until week 6, if not even further than that. That's the only physical change I can think of. I think my skin is starting to get softer, and my face is starting to look more feminine, but that's probably just wishful thinking. Hair growth is still the same, which is annoying me. I have very slow growing hair, and I'd like to look more like a woman than an 80s kid with a mullet. I guess the last thing to mention is my emotions. I've heard estrogen can cause depression, and I have not felt anything like that since starting. In fact, I have to hold myself down sometimes because I'm just too excited to be on hormones. I'll try to keep this last point for general audiences. Estrogen has been known to lower your libido. While my drive has been close to nothing for the first 2 weeks, the third and fourth week is where it went really high up. So yeah, that's my first month on estrogen. I can't believe I'm actually saying this. I'm elated that I finally started HRT. I do kind of regret I haven't started sooner, but looking back at my life, this really was the best opportunity to come out as transgender, both myself and everyone else. The only problem now is I have several people I need to tell I'm transgender. I'd rather I tell them before my boobs do. I'd say that's about it. I'll probably do another one of these videos next month as well. If you have any suggestions for other stories you'd like to hear, feel free to ask. I'm an open book. But I refuse to say who I voted for. Until things cool down, I take that with me to the grave. If you have questions, feel free to ask. I just want to note politics still applies here, and I'm not an expert in all things transgender. Then again, is anyone? Till next time, be yourself, no matter who that is.